Tony Okocha-led All Progressives Congress in Rivers State on Saturday held its party congresses and described it as very peaceful despite a court order restraining the party from conducting any congress. ATN gathered that the Congress was monitored by the Independent National Electoral Commission, the Department of Security Service, and the police. Recall that a Rivers State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt, presided over by Justice G.V. Obomanu, had on Wednesday given an order of interim injunction restraining the APC from conducting its congresses. The court explained that the order followed a suit filed by 3 aggrieved members of the party in the state, Okudili Ndike Peace Organu, Samuel Uchebule, and others, who said they paid for the forms to participate in the Congress, but were excluded from getting the forms. But a statement signed by the Publicity Secretary of APC in Ekwere local government area, Jacobs Chimezie, confirmed that the caretaker committee chairman of the party, Tony Okocha, was at the venue of the APC Congress in Ekwere local government area to monitor the process. According to the statement, which was backed with photo clips, Okocha arrived at the council after casting his vote in his local government area in Obiabo. The statement noted that Okocha commended the peaceful conduct of the Congress, congratulated those who were elected, and charged them to see their victory as a call for more work, loyalty, and dedication to the party. Okocha thanked the leaders of the party in Ekwere local government for coming out in large numbers to participate in the Congress. The statement said party stakeholders from Ekwere local government who were present at the local government Congress included the State Publicity Secretary of APC Rivers State, Chibuike Ikenga, former member representing Ekwere Emoha Federal Constituency at the House of Representatives, Chidi Wihioka, Ezemoye Ezekiel Amadi, Dr. Anosike Joseph Oduwa, Emma Amadi, Dr. Steve Wogo, Chizi Nyo Masila, Obina Ekem, Charles Wobodo, among others. Chizi, your name was mentioned.
Why that emphasis? Even when you were saying it, why that emphasis on Chizi Nyo Masila?
Chizi, your name was mentioned.
Yes, of course.
Now, Chizi.
I know that she has a privilege. You are here now. So.
Because he needs to answer. He needs to answer to this. Chizi, was there a court order restraining that Congress from holding?
Let me.
There was a court order. Why did the APC go ahead? Chizi, why were you present despite the court order at that Congress?
So it's no longer with the APC.
A direct question.
Why? It's no longer why APC was there.
And yourself. Go ahead, Chizi.
Notice that I'm a law-abiding citizen of this country.
All right.
And I know when law speaks.
Okay.
Now, you see, there are people who do not understand party mechanism. The Congress of a political party starts from the word. And as soon as the word Congress has been conducted, it means that 80% of the Congress has been done. And I'll tell you why. The word Congress will elect not just the word ESCOs. The word Congress, Lorisha, let me tell you that if party is academia, I'm a professor in party politics. I've been in party politics. That's all I've been for like 20-something years.
I want to see you defend this action of the APC.
Now I'm saying this. Now, at the ward level, party ESCOs are elected. And part of those that will be elected will be one, the local government delegates that will elect the local government is elected at the ward level. The state delegate that will elect the state delegate. So if you want to stop any congress of the political party, is to stop it at the ward congress. That's number one. Now, they dared to do that. They went to the court to also stop the ward congress. And a court of appeal.
I'm aware of that.
The court of appeal said, no, you cannot stop that ward congress. They should go ahead while your matters is in the court. Now, a court of appeal by hierarchy is higher than a high court of Rivers.
Was it the same prayer?
No, not the same prayer. All That's right. Number one.
Go ahead.
Number two is this. Now, you are going to stop a local government congress, like I've told you that we have gone so far, and a state high court is going to stop a local government congress that will be monitored by INEC.
So?
Now, let me tell you why.
I'm coming to that.
Yes, I'm coming up.
Go ahead.
Now, you are going to stop a local government congress that will be monitored by INEC.
All right.
Now, as soon as INEC is involved in such things, it now you no longer have that jurisdiction at the High Court to so do.
So it says who?
It's federal government. I'll tell you why. Because you see, INEC is a federal agency.
All right.
INEC is a federal agency, and as far as a federal agency, INEC does not answer to state. INEC only answers to the federal agency, which is the Federal High Court. That was why at the World Congress, that's why they went.
Okay, and that was why this APC Congress had to hold.
For
Because the court that gave that order does not have the jurisdiction.
jurisdiction.
Now, before I delve further into that, I will ask you a question. Was that order vacated? Whether the court had jurisdiction or not, it is not the place of the APC to decide. It is the place of the appeal court to decide that the court does not have jurisdiction. Was that order vacated by the court?
Now, let me tell you two things that happens. Number one is that I do not speak as the party, because I'm just a member of the party.
You are in the State Executive Council of APC.
No. Let me say.
Are you not in the SEC council?
I am not. No.
Are you not in the SEC?
No, when you say SEC,
Are you in the SEC?
Just hear me now.
Are you in the SEC?
Excuse me. Let me say
Yes or no answer.
I am a member of SEC by status quo.
All right.
Not by election.
Okay.
Now, if you were a member of the State Working Committee before, you were a member of the SEC. Not that you're a member of the State Working Committee. Now, I do not have that privilege or have the authority to answer that, because they could do things that we do not know by going to answer them.
Right.
Now, but ours is that we are going to go to the Congress, and we don't see that anyway. It is then they give that we're going to go to Congress and continue with the Congress. And let me tell you that another thing that happens is that the legal department of the party will come and say, why would I be arrested by a Cameroonian police when I've committed a crime here? So if they don't have jurisdiction, in the eyes of the law, they don't even exist.
Now, talking about the jurisdiction in the first instance, let's go back to, because I base my conversation on the law and the precedents in court. Now, let's go back to the recent local government judgment by appeal court. Appeal court set aside the judgment of the Federal High Court, because the Federal High Court delved into state affairs. And now, one of the arguments that they had when they were presenting that matter was that INEC was involved. INEC was involved. Nigerian Police Force was involved. Nigerian Police Force is a department of the federal government. INEC, it's a commission of the federal government.
Yeah.
Other security agencies were involved, and they are departments of the federal government. And in their own wisdom, they felt, okay, because these federal agencies, federal departments and commissions are involved, we are going to go to Federal High Court, who can superintend over matters that these people are involved. However, the appeal court in its judgment made the nonsense of that case and said that the Federal High Court did not have the jurisdiction to entertain that matter because it was a state-related matter, regardless of the federal agencies involved. Yeah, now, I am just bringing the issue of jurisdiction. Now, you're saying because INEC is involved in this matter.
It's not only INEC.
The state high courts.
No, it's not only INEC.
Nigerian police.
No, not only Nigerian.
The Congress in question, is it a state Congress?
It's a federal Congress. Let me tell you why. It is a Congress of a political party registered by INEC. We do not have any registered political party in River State. Do we? We don't. There is no political party that is registered in River State. APC, every other political party is also a federal field. It's not registered. Now, the first
case the first order stopping the Congress, the first court order stopping the Congress that came that APC had to go to appeal court to get a stay of execution of that order. Was it from a state high court?
No, federal high court.
Federal high court.
Yes.
All right, very well. However, from what you have explained and what you have said, APC River State arrogated judicial powers onto itself and decided that the state high court does not have jurisdiction. Instead of vacating that order, went ahead to hold the Congress without vacating the order of the state high court, whether they had jurisdiction or not. So APC arrogated judicial powers onto itself.
No, they didn't arrogate judicial powers. I never said so. But let me
my explanation. That's
no.
What
Let me explain. Let me explain these things. I have told you number one about the jurisdiction. I just mentioned made a case about the jurisdiction. I also tell you that one of their claim is that they bought form. You understand? That they bought form and they were not allowed to participate.
And you know, that still brings me to the fact that these are different prayers. The first prayer that went to Federal High Court.
No, I'm bringing up their own prayers.
It was an entirely different prayer from this one.
This one said, that's what I'm saying now. This one said.
And you mentioned that an appeal court had vacated the initial order. So that order is subsisting. It doesn't subsist in this new matter.
No, let me tell you now.
The
new matter they have now is that, you mentioned something about the Court of Appeal, nullifying the other one, so that I don't just allow it pass without just saying something about it.
Go ahead.
The one that the Court of Appeal, of course, we are a law-abiding people, and then we obey the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal has said, oh no, that the air that it was a state matter. And then you're looking at, as much as I do not want to take up the work of the Supreme Court, because we're in Supreme Court on that issues, but just on the Court of Appeal. And we are not part of them that will always say, no, the court are rubbish because of something. But let me just question that. Do you see that if you used to look at that and this instance, I have told you, at that one, INEC does just one work, giving them the data to hold the election. Police is for security. But in this case, INEC monitors election just like RISEC monitors a local government election. So INEC is not passive. But here, INEC is a very integral member of this. Without an INEC, there won't be election. There won't be congresses in the first instance. So, but in the other one, the only thing is that if INEC does not give you data, the question would be, which data did he use to do that? So in this angle, when they now said that they didn't buy form, that they bought form, I don't want to know whether they bought form or not. If we play the clip of that thing, what was announced is, if you had ever bought form, whether illegally or legally, that's the word we used. Wherever you had bought form from, present the form and come and line up. Wherever, whether you went to the national to buy form, because
they said the form was not given to them. They paid, but
they paid to where?
The form was not given to them.
See,
it is now.
No. Let me tell you something now.
The burden of proof
lies on the court.
Exactly. No, not even the court. The burden of the proof
lies on them,
on the accuser.
Yes.
Now they are the ones to present, and it is at they present it to the court now because it's a matter of litigation. So it's not for you. They are saying there is no form to even present and stand in queue for the election to happen. Can
I tell you something?
They were disenfranchised by the party.
The publicity secretary who just addressed this, I'm accusing him personally. He came with a receipt of the payment of this thing, only receipt. He came with a receipt and said, look, I bought this thing with a receipt. Because, you know what, let me tell you something. You can stay in the convenience of your house and buy a form if it's just transfer and pay for it. He came with a receipt of a transfer he made. And there they said, okay, fine. If you came with the receipt, then when was this fee made? It's around the time duration.
Right.
If it's around the time duration, so it may be logistics or something that he didn't get it from. Then he was
allowed him
to contact.
So now, to a large extent, from what you're saying,
they didn't also come if they did buy.
From what you're saying, they did not come
at all.
Even if they said the form was not given to them, at least they should have brought an evidence
to say
that transaction.
To say that look, the form
the transaction was made for the form and they paid. Okay, very well. That's on one hand, but then it still boils down to one thing: APC held Congress. Despite court order.
Very legal Congress.
Very legal Congress. All right, let me come to Daniel. Daniel, Cheesy was a part of that Congress by the way. So
congratulations to them. But let me take something. Let me align about what you said. What the Court of Appeal said is that the Electoral Act is not binding on the local government election, meaning that every federal institution is not binding on the local government election. And so the judgment, whether from the state high court, is binding. It doesn't mean, it's just a clarification there. And so that these things can go. Now, on the other thing, I think there are other judgments before now that said most of these things are political party affairs, and that persons who are aggrieved must, there are a lot of judgment on that, must exhaust all internal mechanism in resolving that issue. Now, on the issue that you asked him about the APC disobeying court order, there is a reason why political parties have the department for their legal something, is to also advise. If a judgment doesn't sound well, it's not okay, they looked at it, it's not stopping what we are doing, you are obliged to go ahead. That's one. And I think when I saw this thing, what came to my mind again was, oh, so we are back here again. I thought Justice Kekereekun summoned judges from Rivers State because of these things. And I think that and that has always been my campaign, if I approach a court for an interim injunction,
that do not have jurisdiction.
No, I'm not even talking about jurisdiction. I approach a court for an interim injunction. And I think part of the thing before a judge will grant an interim injunction is it injurious that if I don't take that decision now, this thing would affect you and all of that. Or can we say we put these people on notice for 24 hours to report before his lordship and answer to some of these things without anything? You just grant. No, I think we should do better. These things exist more in River State, and it exists when you go to a state high court, River State. Why? And when I first saw it and read, I thought Justice Kekereekun called them, and I also want to think.
Not all.
It doesn't matter if you call 2 or 3 persons. And I also thought
Justice Igwe.
And I also thought that part of what was discussed would have been channeled to the Chief Justice of the state to say, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. And I think an interim injunction again, that's the first thing that came to me in Rivers State again. And then you wake up tomorrow and you get another interim injunction. And I think that the judges, for me, they should do better. In granting an interim injunction, is there anything injurious to that person that it is sacrosanct that it must be granted at that minute? So anybody can come at any time without even putting certain things before you to say, oh, okay, what was brought before them? That, oh, we have exhausted all internal mechanisms and this is it, and nothing was done. And for me, it is unfair that you just take your party, if you are a true member, without going through internal mechanism of your own party, to say, I bought a form, I didn't get a form, and all of this, you have presented your case, and nothing was done, and then you now approach a court. Nothing.
All right. Now, Daniel, the first statement you made when you were speaking about the jurisdiction of the courts that entertain this matter, you were saying that the court does not have jurisdiction.
It does not.
And if a court does not have jurisdiction, it makes a nonsense of this judgment. And the party involved, in this instance being the APC, is not bound to obey the order of that court because the court in the first instance does not have jurisdiction to entertain that matter. It means that there was no need for APC to vacate that judgment. They should just ignore it. They were well within their rights to simply ignore that judgment and go ahead with the Congress. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Again,
okay.
I was having a conversation with him before we came to the studio. And the first thing I always look at, when Abure, is it Abure's name now? The LP man.
The Labour Party.
Conducted an election. The first thing I asked
was INEC
present?
INEC was not present.
INEC was not present. Now, this is the issue.
But they got returned.
No, I'm coming. If no, it's still on
Supreme Court.
Yes. If INEC was there, was INEC not aware that there is a judgment that this Congress should not hold? Why did INEC go there to supervise that Congress? That is number one thing you must
with respect to the APC.
Yes, APC. Why did INEC go there? It simply means that whatever judgment that has come from the court here in Port Harcourt is not binding on INEC.
It's all right.
So if it is not binding on INEC, can it be binding on APC as a body that registered under? Like he said, you don't have a registered political party in Rivers State. It's only a branch they have in Rivers State.
Okay.
So it is difficult for me, for the questions that you ask him, and I think those are smart decisions to take. Your legal department checks and say, no, this judgment is not binding on us. We go ahead.
All right.
By all indication, if you say the judgment is binding, well, they have gone ahead. Go back to the same court and say, your lordship, your judgment or your order rather was not obeyed. And then further they would appeal that decision. But I think that the Rivers State Court here doesn't have that jurisdiction.
All right.